Go ahead and start the recording. And yeah, let's start with the status updates. I can go first. Last week, we ended up starting, or I guess rebranding the Thursday working group meeting to office hours. So that is a new thing. If you haven't heard, I went ahead and updated the calendar on our main page. I was in the process right now of updating the community repo since I believe that one still has no mention of the office hours. So I want to clean up that to kind of maybe display the meetings a little bit better there as well. Yeah, I think that's the only pertinent things to these or this subteam. Any other status updates?
Um, I tried looking into the topic we talked about last time, which was like seeing if we can reduce the redundancy of the code snippets. There isn't anything out of the box. The closest thing I could find is like people have like some snippets and they use some templating language to embed those snippets or like to refer to them in a common way. Uh, I don't know if that's ideal or if Hugo supports that well, but I've seen that often in like some other like documentation tools like restructured text where you simply include like a snippet from from a common place.
Mhm.
But
That's really interesting. Um, I guess I hadn't thought about a templating language supporting that. I guess my question is revolving like modifications to a line, right? Like if it's always just adding sections, that definitely makes sense. But if it's like modifications to a line, I wonder, like the thing that comes to mind is like diffs, right? Like if you could apply diffs on top of, certain things, you could therefore do appending, deletions, or modifications. But that seems pretty difficult to to write, right? So I'm not entirely sure that's feasible either, but
the
inspiring. Yeah.
the other thing I've seen some projects do is they have like a repository with the solution, and they have like checkpoints either via tags or different folders with like modifications as you go. So let's say you are on page like X, like you're on part X of the Buildpack author's guide. That would point you to the solutions repository with that particular commit, for example, or that particular folder, and that has the solution. That's that like I've seen, for example, Cube Builder has something similar when it tries to teach you uh, like how to do these things. But like these are the only two things that came to my mind. Uh,
Yeah.
but
So I've seen that as well, right? Especially for like tutorials, but I feel like I think it's more like tutorials that are very I don't want to use the term simple, right? But like it's one very specific use case or path, right? And I wonder how that solution of the different directories helps us solve the fact that if you update one, right, like you still have to go and update all the subsequent ones to make a match. I other than it keeping them maybe more organized, I don't see too much of a gain, right? And then what we would have to do is map or figure out a system that extracts the code snippets in and places them in a very specific location on the page. So again, maybe it's worth investigating, but those are the kind of questions I have with that.
yeah, I think the only other option is like having to like custom build some solution which applies modifications based on um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So I mean, we weren't crazy, right? Like it's it's not easy to do, but yes, I definitely feel the pain. I think we felt it for quite some time, but there's no off-the-shelf solution thus yet for this. So I think we will have to figure out something. Just whether or not we're, I guess, who's going to be able to do that. But yeah, like yeah, if you come up with something, want to experiment with something, obviously more than happy to have a solution in place. Awesome. Anything else on that or any more status updates? Okay, moving on.
Wait,
Sorry, go
sorry.
ahead,
Can you
Natalie.
hear me?
Yes, now we
Yeah.
can.
Okay. I figured out my mic. Hi, Sam. I'm Natalie. I work at VMware. It's nice to meet you.
Hi.
Sorry for joining late. I just wanted to share. I guess it's kind of an update. I don't know if we have a like a maybe this was discussed earlier, but um, Sam, who's been doing the user research, I think is looking to kind of hand that off to, someone else who has more bandwidth to drive that project. And I think we're just kind of talking about what will that look like and what can we do to sort of ensure that the information, everything that's been gathered thus far is shared and like digested. So I guess it's more like a lookout for some kind of proposal of next steps there.
Okay, so that's speaking to the user research piece, right? And I think that there was a question in the past about whether or not the comments that were added to the discussion for the roadmap were the majority of the findings, or whether there would be an additional document or I guess some other report. But it sounds like you're saying that there will be another more condensed report.
Yeah, I think that some of the things that we learn might shape how we organize our docs and the things that we highlight and profile there. So I do feel like it could benefit from kind of putting that in front of a bunch of people and then asking for, you know, discussion, right?
Yep, totally agree with that. Cool. All right, anything else on user research? Okay, moving on, unlabeled issues. Let's see, I think we only have one, and it is, let me see if it's, oh, share my screen. Document the fact that, oh, okay, Sam, this is one of the ones that we just added, right? Uh,
Okay. Yeah. This I just created it as like a follow-up for that pull request. I don't know if I'm supposed to create this or not
I
while it
see.
merged.
No, I think this definitely makes sense. I'm gonna go ahead and tag the learning team since I think this is a very simple high level item.
I mean, this partly can already be done, but the pack CLI docs and the official documentation doesn't mention it. So if you currently have uh, a directory without a package.toml, but if it has a buildpack.toml for like for simple component build packs, it works as it is. It's just not documented, and the CLI docs actually say that you require a package.toml, which is false.
Right. So I think we just missed that in the PR for updating the optionality of that flag, correct? Um, I know in regards to this topic, I know that there's been a lot of discussion on the PR, and I don't know if this is the right time and place to discuss it. But I was definitely wondering if you would be available tomorrow during the platform sync, so we could discuss it in more at
What
more
time?
length there. I believe, is it the same time? I'd have to look, to be honest.
It's a little later, looking 11:30, I think.
11:30 Eastern.
Eastern, yeah. Sorry, wait, hold
Oh
on.
yeah, it's
Yeah, 11:30 Eastern. So that's
an hour and a half from this meeting.
I should be able to make it.
Cool. And obviously don't feel obligated, and we can continue the discussions on the thread, but I feel like maybe it'd be easier if we all just get in the room and figure it out.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, moving on. So I think those were the only issues, or that was the only issue, sorry. Next one is public decks. All right.
Yeah,
Who wants to speak to that? Okay.
that was something I put in. I mean, I posted this on the Slack as well. Uh, like if there are any public presentations that we can use, and I was pointed to some like previous presentations that have been given by the CNBT. Um, should should there be like some public slides or something, like if someone wants to teach, let's say, their company or present it to a subset of people, uh, like should there be any public slide decks that they can reuse or that come with notes and everything, so that or do you think the documentation is enough or something like this?
I know I've seen it for, I believe, is it Linkerd? They have kind of like their community page has like, giving a talk, get some slide deck, right? And stuff like that. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I definitely think it would be awesome if we did have something. Um, the I guess maybe the question to work through would be like, what all do we include in there, right? And whether or not we would have a uniform style that more or less adheres to that of the Buildpacks IO website. But yeah, I think it would be a great idea.
Because like,
Sorry, go ahead.
so, no, I was just saying that like there are a lot of talks that I can find on YouTube, uh, but none of those talks, I think, I couldn't find attached slides for any of them. Uh,
Mm.
so like even on like the CNCF like pages, like where those talks are referenced, I can't find those like the slides for those talks. Um,
I do think that because we were required when David and I spoke at the KubeCon North America, we were required to upload our slides. I think it's available, but as a PDF, so not as convenient and editable.
Okay, that should still be fine. So the talks that like I can easily find on YouTube are the ones like that are like the deep dive into cloud native build packs, I think, given by Joe and Stephen, and like I think the similar set of talks by Emily and uh, Terrence. And none of those, like I couldn't find slides for any of them. I don't think I found your presentation on YouTube easily when I search for like cloud native build pack. So maybe if we can just point to existing videos that have been uploaded on YouTube by like people who are related to the project, that would be good as well.
I think we even have an issue for this, right? On the doc somewhere that's like we should reference our talks that have been given.
I was gonna ask for one to be created, so if there already is, again, yeah. So it sounds like there's two asks, right? Is one of them is to provide a I don't know what to say, like a sample deck. I don't know if that's the right term, but basically something that people could reuse and steal from to create their own deck, right? And then another one is to create a curated list of talks with associated resources or associated deck. Because I'm pretty sure if the talk was given by somebody in the, I guess in the maintainer side of things, like we should be able to ping them and hopefully be able to grab them for sharing them. Do we have issues for this? Did you find one, Natalie?
Yeah,
I think
in the chat
Oh,
and
in the
dropped it
chat.
in.
Awesome. Technical overview. I see. Yeah, we definitely do this. Okay, so these speak to the curated list of talks, but it doesn't talk about that. Again, what's a better term than sample deck? I feel like that's wrong. Official deck? Template deck?
Bootstrapping your own talk.
A
It is
deck
annoying. I mean,
bootstrapper?
Like reference decks or something.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that better.
I think the first thing that anyone who's ever given a talk on CNVs does is go find the last talk and copy a bunch of slides. At least
All right,
that's what we did.
cool. Okay, so you know what? Unless anybody wants to, I'll take ownership of this, but I can probably get this done pretty quickly. I have some vision of the getting started. So just kind of like a precursor on the getting started page, we already have this additional resources where there's like helpful videos. But again, a while back, I thought about like, it'd be nice if we had like the actual videos play within the web page, and maybe even have it in a carousel format, right? Similar to like YouTube playlists or something like that. And then along with that, being able to add the resources onto that carousel. So make it a little bit more visually appealing. And then maybe link to that from the community page as well, right? So that's more or less my thought. And so I think it's around time we get it done. So thank you for bringing it up. I mean, unless you wanted to do it, Sam, feel free to take on all my work.
Oh no. I don't think I have links to those things anyway. So I think I think that issue was recently updated. After I asked for it. Like I asked for those slides. I think it was updated 4 days ago because I couldn't find those slides anywhere. So I don't think I have reference to those previous slides anyway. So.
Yeah, I'll definitely hunt them down, shake some trees, see what comes out. All right, anything else on that topic? Okay, that brings us to the end of the agenda. Anything else before we drop?
I had one more like I noticed that KPAC has been missing from so we have a list of platforms that are referenced in the sidebar, and KPAC is missing. Is that like intentional or is that something that was just like we didn't include there and we forgot or something?
Um, I would say neither of those. It's definitely not intentional. And I don't think we forgot. It's just that the Buildpacks IO or Cloud Native Buildpacks project doesn't actually own or maintain the KPAC project, right? So it would be perfectly fine if someone contributes the KPAC thing. It just hasn't been top of mind, right? Yeah, if you want to create a PR that adds, KPAC and adds a quick description and a link to the repo, I think that would be perfectly acceptable. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Awesome, cool. All right, anything else? Cool. Well, everybody have an awesome day. See you.